serious black jumper on today because we're talking about a serious topic. It's about following your joy or following your bliss. And I know sometimes for myself, I stop and say, but what makes me joyful? And a blank comes, and I don't know. There are lots of chores, there are lots of activities on the schedule, but how many things on my schedule are just there because they bring me joy? Not because they'll bring me money, or bring me a healthy meal, or bring me things that I'm supposed to have or supposed to want. So today we're going to be talking about connecting into our joy. How do we find it in the first place? And how do we follow it? So following your bliss has been out there for a while. I actually, fun fact, named my very first business Follow Your Bliss way back in 2011 when I was doing Thai yoga massage and teaching yoga. And I didn't even know who Joseph Campbell was. When I found out, I was a little self-conscious, thinking that maybe people thought that maybe people would think that I took that name from him, but I didn't even know who he was at the time, and it just felt like that's what I was doing. I was following what made me happy, and I was giving from my heart. My brand and offerings have gone through many metamorphoses or morphoses, and so have I as a person, as a human. And following my bliss is something that has transformed as well. There have been times these past 10 years where I forgot to connect to myself, and I find we all need reminders that it is okay and it is healthy and it is required to connect to your joy and do things that make you joyful. So 2020 and the pandemic was a great teacher for me as a parent and educator. I slowed down. I got to connect back to my joy. I let go of many things. Many things also let go of me. I'm much more grounded in what I want. There was some survival mode in there, and there was some clawing my way back to neutral plateau. And now I'm really in this space where I want to create visions for what makes me feel joyful and what makes what I want to create. I've been tasked by an energy worker that I work with to create a vision board. So I've done this, I've facilitated this in groups in the past, and I've done it a lot with myself in my personal life. And I'm in a point where it's time to create another one. I'm out of the weeds and driving along the highway, and I want to create the map that I want to follow, that I want my GPS to follow. So like I shared in the beginning, I have had some difficulty in the past actually connecting with what brings me joy. Like, what does bring me joy that's not connected to making money, not connected to obligations, not connected to something I should do or something that should be good for me, or is good for me, and so I should do it. What is just joyful for me? What brings me joy? And so I've come across this practice many years ago about asking the question, what do you really, really, really want? And the exercise goes, you ask that question for a period of time, you stop, and then you ask another question. So this works really well if you have a partner to do this with, someone to hold space and just keep asking you that question. If you don't have somebody to do it with you, you can also do it with yourself. I will be doing it with myself today, and you can do it in front of a mirror. That's a great way to hold space for yourself. You start out for 2 minutes asking, what do you really, really, really want? So that's 3 reallys. What do you really, really, really want? You listen to the other person to respond. You wait for them to respond. It's okay if there's silence. It's okay if there's thinking about something. If they're really got nothing, just ask it again. And when they say something, I want to relax, then you say it again. What do you really, really, really want? And you wait for another response. And this is timed, so you set a timer for 2 minutes. Then you can switch and do the practice for the other person. And then comes the second question, which is really the most important question. So you ask, what's stopping you? And you wait for the response. And this is also timed. So you do this for 2 minutes and you see what comes up. And same thing as before, if there's just a blank and the other person isn't saying anything, can't think of anything, just ask it again, what's stopping you? And then when they give you something, money is stopping me. Say it again, what's stopping you? Time is stopping me. What's stopping you? Keep going, keep going, and keep going until the timer finishes. If you just have time to do that practice, asking what do you really, really want, and then asking what's stopping you for 2 minutes each question, that's great. You could leave it there and you would have a lot to contemplate over and meditate over, as well as journal and see what comes of it for yourself. However, I recommend not leaving it there. I recommend doing a short shaking practice and then journaling afterwards, and see what really sticks. See what wants to come forward. After doing this practice, I will be using the things that come up from the practice to later create my vision board, and I welcome you to do the same. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the thought of following your joy, following your bliss, and wondering, wait, what actually makes me happy and what makes me joyful, this is a great practice. And even if you just want to connect and feel great and it comes easily, this is also a great practice. So whether you have some resistance to finding your joy and following it, or you are blissed out every day and following your joy all day long, this practice has really been powerful for me, as well as the groups that I facilitate. So I will send you on your way, and I will do it as well. I hope this practice serves you, and you can let me know how it goes. Bye! Just do it, babe. You know you want to.